Okay, and welcome back. Today we're going to be experimenting with the spotlight photography, or painting with light, but down there on the scale of model cars. And I got this idea from Dr. Cranky. I know Dr. Cranky just did a video on this, but I think I can show it in a little bit of a easier, possibly cheaper way to do it. Now, one thing that you can't get away from is that you have to have a DSLR. Or you have to be able to control the shutter. You have to be able to leave the shutter open for a good long time, and you have to be able to control the ISO so that you let less light in for a long period of time. And I'll explain that here in a moment. But now, what spotlight photography is? This is all going to be done in the dark, and what you basically be doing is you'll be leaving the shutter open for long periods of time, like 30 seconds, and you're going to be using a small light. Here I have this one that kind of looks like the War of the Worlds, and I'm using it because it's small, not like a floodlight or a big spotlight, big flashlight of some kind. So what I can do is just shine it on very specific parts of the model at specific angles. And since what you're doing is you're painting with light, keeping in mind that the shutter is open for a good 30 seconds, you can weave all around your subject in light areas that wouldn't normally be lit if you want them lit. Say, for example, your light source in the room was from the front, but you wanted to show some of the back of the headlights. You could actually do that while the shutter is still open. And I will demonstrate that here momentarily. But I want to go over the camera settings. So basically, now this camera, this is a Canon T5i, and I actually have the +4 diopter on there. That's for macro. And this gives you full control of what you need to do. So now when you're taking, and I know that looks overexposed, but keep in mind we're shooting in the dark. But what you want to do, this part here, this is your f-stop, and you want to set that as high as you possibly can go. Now normally your f-stop, I think it will default somewhere around 11 to 8, or if you have terrible lighting conditions it might go to 5.6, but we're all completely manual here, so I'm taking it all the way to 32. Now what that means is that everything in the front of the frame will be in focus with everything in the back of the frame. So it's not showing what it's going to be able to do here, but it will be able to keep everything in the background in focus with everything in the foreground. And now this part here, yeah, I'll get to that in a moment. This is your shutter, and as you can see I've got it set on 30 seconds. Normally it runs right around 250, way over here. Normally it would default somewhere between 30 and 60. And then a fast shutter would start coming in around 250, 500. But you want to leave the shutter open a good long time. And in this case, 30 seconds is what I want. And then you want to take your ISO. This is how much light the camera will let in, which, it's one of those things. It's basically all electronic now. It lets the same amount of light in, but this is how you control it. Normally it defaults around 400, but I took it down to, I had it down at 100, but I'm finding that 200 is more what I want. And you'll see why. It was just not well, it basically, I needed just a tiny bit more light, and so I picked 200 for that. So we have a very high f-stop, which would be a suicide mission if you were trying to hold the camera for 30 seconds. It would never work, and because you would need, this is what would force you to need more light, a lot more light, and basically the only way you're going to be able to achieve that is to have it on a tripod. To have it on a tripod. Okay, there we go. And so basically what you're doing is when you have, now I've got this separate little doohickey here. This allows you to press the shutter without touching the camera, so you don't bump the camera. Normally that's the button right there. So when you press this, the shutter will come open and stay open for 30 seconds, and that will be your one picture. Now a little tip here, especially for this type of thing. What you want to do is you want to, it's on autofocus right now, and since you have the shot all set up and you know that the focus is going to be the same every time, because I tell you what, when you turn the lights off, it's not going to be able to find it. So what you want to do is put down your shutter halfway so it focuses. You get your little green square there. And then I can't do this while holding this other camera, but while holding this, you want to shut off your autofocus and switch to manual focus there, MF. And then when you let go, it will stay in that focus. Regardless of what you see in the picture, it'll be in focus. And it will stay in focus even if it's in the dark, and so it won't be worrying about that. And yeah, let me go over a few of the shots that I got here already. Okay, here we go. So this is an example of what I'm talking about, and I'll definitely be showing a pretty lengthy slideshow at the end of this. These 4 pictures were all taken from the same angle, but they all look very different. Let's see, there, and there. And so the camera never moved, but the light did. Basically what I was able to do there is, say for example, that first shot, I had the light mostly in the front there, like that, shining on like that. And then the second shot, I was shining the light from the rear. And in the third shot, I can't remember, but the last one, I was actually behind it this way, so that it only showed the silhouette. See how that works? And at any time, while the shutter's open for a good 30 seconds, if you wanted a strong silhouette and then just like 2 seconds of wheel, so that you get just a little bit of wheel showing, you could do that and then pull it away before the shutter closes. And that is how you do that. And so I will take a picture so that I can show you exactly what happens here. And I'll try to do that in the dark, and we'll see if I can do that. Okay, so here we go. We've got the shot all set up the same way, and I've already taken this picture. I'll show you the picture that I just got. It's a little bit back here, right there. And what I was trying to do is emulate the headlights actually being on. And in order to do that, you couldn't just, say like a few pictures back, you couldn't have just the headlights illuminated because the whole front of the car would be illuminated. And so I worked with that, and this one was with ISO 100, and then here it was right here with ISO 200, and it lit up more. So it looks like the headlights are lighting up the front, but not lighting up the outside of the wheel. See that? They're lighting up the inside of the wheel on the other side, because that's the way it would be doing. And I'll show you exactly how I got this picture. This is the one I'll show. So let's do that. Let's turn the lights off and see if we can see anything. Okay, so let me do this. This is what I'm talking about. I need to set the autofocus, which is now on manual. Okay, now it's on auto. Set your autofocus. and it's picked the wheel. I don't want, it's better for it to be somewhere in the middle. It's not going to do it because it, oh, come on. There we go, we got that. Now while I'm holding that, I'm going to switch it to manual focus, and we're locked. So now I'm going to turn the lights off. Okay, and I'm going to reach over and I'm going to click the shutter so that it starts taking the picture. And then I'm going to try to find the subject. I'm probably going to time out. This is going to be a lousy picture here. Okay, I give up on trying to do this while it's actually taking the picture. But say, for example, it just took the picture. Let me lock this. This is funny. Okay, now we're finally locked. Okay, say, for example, the shutter just clicked. Now I have 30 seconds to do everything that I need. So like click, and then I started by lighting up the headlights like that. And you got to imagine probably about half of the time. And then I started sweeping down the front like this. So that all that, so the camera is collecting photons right now and making the image. So as I do this, that image is being burned onto the, it's not being burned onto the, this is YouTube, of course. I'll get a lot of corrections, I know it. Anyway, so like click, like right there is where 30 seconds would hit, and then you go back to your camera, and that is what produced that image that I was talking about. That one. And that will definitely be in the slideshow if you want to see it closer. I don't know if I'm going to do the slideshow separately or within this video, but that in a nutshell is how you do this. So I'll be right back. So as you can imagine, there's all kinds of different things that you can do there. Like as I was illuminating the headlights and the front, if I wanted to illuminate that wheel right there, I would simply have to just swing around for like 5 seconds or so and shine directly on the wheel, and then it would show up in the picture as well. I hope everybody is catching the concept. And so what I've done is I have brought out a bunch of my cars, and I'm going to try to get some of these neat silhouette pictures and provide a nice slideshow. So that concludes the talking portion of this. Sorry if it was confusing, but there's really not much to it for anybody that knows cameras. Basically, for anybody that doesn't know cameras very well, you do actually have to have a DSLR. But other than that, you can use a little flashlight. And basically that is a plastic bag there. That is a plastic garbage bag under there. And this is just a piece of scrap plastic that I found somewhere. Just to blacken out everything in the background. Although nothing really did show up, did it? Anyway, stay tuned for a slideshow somewhere here. It might be right on this video, it might be the next one. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.